Yeah, Coach. Wanted to ask, obviously, we got the matchup is now set, and the Bucks have been playing without Giannis for a couple games. Are you seeing anything different in what they do without him, or are they still pretty much doing the same stuff?
I mean, their emphasis on the paint it looks like it's a focus for their team, attacking the paint, getting extra possessions with their offensive rebounders, transition, getting to the paint, Holiday in the paint, like that. That's a huge emphasis for them. And when Giannis was in the lineup, that's what he does. So I think they're the same in that regard. We're preparing for him to play, and we're preparing for him, if they show up and he's not in the lineup. We have both plans that we're working on, and but that's been our focus, really getting back in transition and doing our best to try to win the paint game and box out and rebound the ball once you miss or once you play.
Quick follow, Coach. You obviously coached Jrue earlier in his career. Where have you seen him grown the most since you last coached him?
I mean, he's been pretty much this kind of player his whole career. He guards multiple positions. He can shoot the ball. He can attack the basket. He's just a really good basketball player. He's physical on defense. He gets over screens. I didn't have him as consistently because he had some injury issues in New Orleans. But when he did play, this was the kind of player that we saw. He's not afraid. He's fearless. He's just a big, strong guard. And everywhere he goes, he has, an effect on the team, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Next up is Sierra Santos from Fox 10, followed by Greg Moore.
Hey, Monty, I know the regular season kind of gets thrown out the door once you get into the playoffs, but you look at the two games that you guys played, they went down to the wire. How competitive are you expecting this finals to be?
I mean, it's the finals. You expect their best, and we hope to counter that with our best. We've watched all the games that we played against them in the regular season, and they were highly competitive games. And, every possession mentality is going to be something that both teams are probably going to be locked into. But it's the finals. Like, it's the most competitive basketball you're going to see, and we embrace that.
What stood out to you about those regular season games when you watched them back? The physicality, playing in the paint. When you attack the paint, they bring guys to distract you, to play verticality, to touch you, the screen setting. A lot of it is, spacing on the offensive side, having great spacing to counter their good defense. And they're just big. That's one thing that stands out is their size. Lopez, Giannis, Portis, those are big, strong, physical guys. And then they have big guards. And then they've added Tucker, who's a big, strong, versatile defender. So the physicality probably is the one thing that stood out. And so we have to do a really good job of, boxing those guys out, being physical, when they try to, limit our screens and take us out of our screening angles. We got to own our space. So to answer your question, the physicality is something that probably stood out in both games. It was consistent in both.
Next up is Greg Moore with the Arizona Republic, followed by Kellen Olson.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks for your time. Greg Moore, Arizona Republic. Coach, tell me about your assistants, Randy, Willie, Mark, Brian, Kevin. I'm wondering what they've brought, and what makes this group special for you.
I mean, one, they're just people that I enjoy being around. They're guys that have pushed me to be a better coach because of how good they are, the wisdom, the experience from playing and coaching. They bring a ton to the table every day that really helped me, and I really appreciate it. And then I've had experiences with them before I came here, and that really helped me ask those guys to partner with us here in Phoenix. I coached Willie in New Orleans. I worked with Randy in New Orleans, and then I worked with Kevin in Philly. Mark Bryant and I played together, worked together, and we're working again together. So that part's been pretty cool to kind of grow up with those guys. If anybody thinks I've grown up at all, it's been with those guys. And then Brian Randall, somebody that we asked to partner with us that I didn't even know. And we feel like we've fallen into one of the best young coaches and will be one of the better young coaches in the league. We had no idea that he would bring as much as he brought to the table as far as coaching and acumen and experience. We knew the integrity and character, and we didn't know how good of a coach he was.
Next up is Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, followed by Kirsten Susel.
Hey, Monty, to bounce off Dwayne's question, just with those two games, Giannis out, you saw Jrue and Lopez and Middleton just all step up. Can you speak on just how offensively balanced this team is, even with Giannis out?
They're just tough. All three of those guys can create their own shots. Lopez in the post, and even when he has the ball away from the basket, he can draw fouls and it's physical. He seems to be diving a lot more than he did earlier in the season. And Jrue and Chris, those guys are big-time shot makers. They can create their own shots. The ball's moving a little bit more, and then they're creating extra possessions with their rebounders, Portis and Connaughton and PJ Tucker, along with Lopez, create more possessions for them. So those three guys have stepped up their play, but I don't think anybody thought they wouldn't. They're just really good players. I mean, two of them are playing on the Olympic team, and Lopez has been a really good player for a long time.
Next up is Kirsten Susel from 12 News, followed by Jose Romero.
Hey, Monty, after Wednesday's game, you said the essence of your coaching is to serve. And I don't think every coach takes that approach. So what exactly does that look like, or do you aim to do in that role as a coach?
Well, I hope that when the players are around our staff, in particular me, that they know I'm here to serve them in any way that I can. I want to help guys get better. I want to help them get paid. I want to help them win games. But I want to do it in a way that allows for them to think that guy cares about me, and he cares about my family. He cares about me as a person, and it just comes from my faith as a Christian to not just do a job, collect a check, and go home. I'm hopeful to have a great relationship with the guys that I get to coach and work with, and just for me, my leadership revolves around serving people, and you have to ask the players how they feel about that, but it's just the way that I thought would be effective for my personality and for what I want to do as a coach.
We have time for three more. Next up is going to be Jose Romero, followed by Gina Mizell.
Monty, good afternoon. Just your thoughts on you don't often get a situation where a player is playing on one of the two teams or played on both teams that are in the finals in Torrey Craig, and just your thoughts on what he's brought and the oddity of that situation, and then also going back to when you made the move and how it's paid off for you guys.
Well, Torrey's a huge part of what we do. From the time we got him, just threw him in the fire, and he just went out there and played. Didn't know everything that we were doing. He picked it up on the fly with the force that he plays with, the energy that he plays with, and then he's been able to make shots for us. So that part's been huge. And he's been a big part of, how we have attacked this series from a scouting report standpoint, because he's been in Milwaukee. It's invaluable listening to him talk about certain aspects of their program. So for us to be able to get a guy like Torrey when we did, and at the time we were dealing with a few injuries, guys were in and out of the lineup, and so he was playing some 4, some 3, and he's, we wouldn't be in this position if we didn't have Torrey. And when you watch Game 6 the other day, like you saw his imprint all over the game, offensive rebounding, attacking the basket, guarding the ball. He's been valuable to us this season, so we're grateful to have him.
Our last 2 questions will be with Gianna Mizell from Suns.com, followed by Barry Bloom.
Hey, Monty, yesterday you were super complimentary of Book's dad, Melvin, and the impact that he's had on his career. I just wonder if you could elaborate more on just what the key to that, I don't know the right word for it, I guess collaboration with him, just because there could be a scenario where that wouldn't work as far as, a parent or a trainer with a coaching staff on a team that could get dicey in other situations. So what has been the key to you guys working together to help Devin develop, whether it's during the season, his work in the off season, just all that stuff?
Yeah, I think, you said it, like when you look around the league, there have been historically situations with a father and son that can, not be so good when it comes to meshing that with an organization. And I think it's Melvin's experience, his personality, the respect he has for the team and coaching, I would imagine, has allowed for him to, continue to work with his son, but also give us space to try to help him as well. And because of what I knew about that relationship, it allowed for me to not even worry about Book. I knew he was getting the work in because I knew a little bit about Melvin. As I told you, we came up at the same time, and Melvin was a pro, and so he understood a lot of what Book was going to go through. But I think he also understood it from our perspective. And anytime I've had a conversation with him, it's always been about everything but basketball. And so that's pretty cool to not have a parent coming up to you saying, hey, you need to do this with my boy, whatever. It's like, we've never had that here. And it's a huge benefit to our program. And to be straight with you, it really helped me with my kids. I have kids who play sports and they're young, but it's, watching and learning from situations like that. Not that my kids would ever be in a position to play pro basketball, but you see how to, bring a kid up in sports and do it the right way. So I think it's impressive. As I said, Book has had the cheat code. Not many people have a parent that is willing to do that and willing to do it in a way that's not overbearing. And to be straight, they have a great relationship. A lot of times that thing splits up. After a few years in the league, it's like, peace, brother. I'm out. And they haven't had that. So that speaks to both of them, their respect for each other, the respect Book has for his dad, but also the character of Melvin.
Our last question is with Barry Bloom from Sportico.
Hey, Monty, good to see you again. The 2 quick questions. Number one, I know you're creating your own history here, but the history of the franchise where, these 2 teams came into the league in 1968 as expansion teams. 53 years later, you're playing each other in the finals. What are your thoughts on that, if you have any? And secondly, the schedule, the way it's laid out towards the Olympics, do you think Booker's going to play in the Olympics? And have you had any discussion with him about whether or not that's advisable at this point?
Yeah, I haven't I didn't know that historical fact or facts about both organizations, but that's pretty cool. I mean, that's all you can say about that. I hope we're the ones that win. That'd be a, historical fact 50 years from now that I hope is in play. As far as the Olympics are concerned, I haven't talked to Book about it. I just know he wants to play. He's looked forward to it for a long time. I don't see why he wouldn't play. Book likes to hoop. That's the thing that we love about him. He loves balling. And, some of us who didn't go, to the armed forces to serve our country, I didn't do ROTC or the National Guard. Like this is a way for you to serve your country and use your gift. And so I know he's looking forward to that. And the thing that I've talked to him about was, having done it, I've expressed to him how cool it was and the experience I had. And there's nothing like being in that tournament and having the national anthem played at the end and looking up in the crowd, especially when you're on foreign soil and seeing, an American flag right here and then one over there and then one over there and then 10 over here. When you're in an arena where there's 15 to 18,000 people, but there's like 300 or 400 Americans, that they're cheering for you and the other 17,000 are trying to wipe you out. It's pretty cool to win in that environment. There's nothing like that feeling. So I've just shared my experiences with him and hopefully it helps him.
Thank you for the time, Coach.
Thank you.